So if you clicked on this, you feel ready to do some practicing with the concepts language, thought, and intelligence. Just so you know, when you have taken this exam, you are at the halfway point of the class. Just thought I'd mention that. Okay, so I'm going to show you a slide, and I want you to pause, get your own answer before you advance. So put me on pause. Okay, the answer is baby makes every sound, babbling. Child misapplies grammar rules. Those are for the older kids. Two-word sentences that we love, telegraphic speech, and then baby makes mostly the sounds they hear. That is the babbling drift, where all the sounds have been differentially reinforced to mostly include the ones that have been heard. All right, match the time frame with concept. Put me on pause. The answer is 6 months, babbling, 10 months, babbling drift, 21 months, telegraphic speech, and the 4 to 5-year-olds, those are the over-regularization years where the kids are starting to be aware of grammar rules and they are misapplying them. So match the explanation with the theory. Put me on pause. Get your own answer. The answer is language is the result of selective reinforcements. Now that is the behavioral point of view. Humans are primed for language acquisition. Those are the nativists that believe it comes naturally. And then, of course, the interactionists believe both. So how many phonemes are in the word moon? Put me on pause. There are 3 phonemes in moon, 3 separate sounds. How about morphemes? How many morphemes are in moon? 1. 1 meaningful chunk of sound. So which word on the left is associated with syntax? Which word on the left is associated with semantics? So let's get some colors here for each. So put me on pause until you're sure which category you would put each of these words into. Okay, so the answer is deep is usually associated with semantics, shallow, syntax, meaning, that refers to semantics, structure, that refers to syntax, and grammar, syntax as well. So what kind of intelligence is being used? Put me on pause till you get your own answer. The answer is reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Most people would say that is crystallized. Sending a thank you to your boss. That shows an awareness of practical intelligence, how things work. Adding a new instrument to your skill set. That would be fluid intelligence because you're learning something new. Match the definition with the term. Pause. So every aspect of the concept is included in a prototype. Many aspects are included in the exemplar. How did you form your concepts? So when you read the exam questions, read every word carefully and read it more than once. So these are the pivotal words in these sentences and phrases here. So how do you form your concepts? You were born with the knowledge, you've observed others, or you've had experiences. Hopefully you recognize that concepts are formed through experience with things that fit the concept and with things that do not fit the concept. All right, match these terms with their definitions. Pause. The answer is gambler's fallacy is defined by the expectation that if something hasn't happened for a while, it's going to happen soon. Availability bias is, for example, if you think, oh, I can recall a lot of something, you think that it happens quite often. Framing effects, that refers to carefully chosen language. And anchoring bias refers to the fact that the first thing you've learned about something seems to be the most important. So the first price, for instance, that you hear for an item seems to be kind of the anchor to how you compare all the other, quote, sale items that you're offered. So match the man with the accomplishments. So Binet, pause. He was the French psychologist who was the first to create a valid IQ test by using comparison groups. And he did a great thing for French kids who needed extra help in school, he was able to identify who they were. So Thurstone, he believed there were many primary factors to intelligence, whereas Spearman believed there was really one general factor. Cattell is the one we credit with the fluid, crystallized, practical intelligence categories, and then Guilford is the structure of the intelligence guy, and his theory is very complicated, and it includes operations and products, and it's really not used. It's very complicated. So we talked about wisdom, or the presentations did rather. So I want you to be able to identify which concepts fit into the category of wisdom that was discussed in the presentations. So this one is not one of them. Age does not necessarily predict increased wisdom. This one, font of knowledge, is part of the concept of wisdom. Practical intelligence, knowing how things work, is part of wisdom. So is tolerance, so is understanding of the temporary nature of life, and so is understanding one's own limits. So on the exam, you're going to be given a couple concepts. You're going to have to recognize which ones apply to wisdom, which ones don't. We decided that one does not, but some of these overlap with IQ. So which one of these are also included in the definitions of IQ, concept of intelligence, that we've discussed? So these also have to do with intelligence. So if you see a statement on the exam, like, okay, so that one's not part of the concept of wisdom, but is this both IQ and wisdom or just wisdom? It's both. Is this both IQ and wisdom or just wisdom? It's just wisdom. So think about each one of the concepts of wisdom and decide for yourself if it overlaps or does not overlap. All right, so I'm going to give you all the slides again. If you're done, you're done. If you'd like to hang around and see the slides without the answers one more time, then go right ahead. Here you go. Pause. So if you don't know, you can always go back. How many phonemes? How many morphemes? Which is syntax? Which is semantics? What kind of IQ is this? Which is the prototype? Which is the exemplar? How do you form your concepts? Which is which on the fallacies and biases? Who did what? And then what is wisdom? We're done. Oh yeah, which ones overlap with IQ? That's it. Good luck.